I can't believe we're here another Wednesday. It seems to go by really quickly.
I know. There we go. There we are. You. Oh, God.
Oh, damn it.
Hello. Let's see if we're actually live. Guys, can you see and hear us? As always, yes.
Can you see? Oh, okay.
Very good.
Hi,
Welcome.
Elise, Danielle, Naomi. Hello, hello. What country are you joining us from?
You're very, very welcome. Kedu. Ada, Kedu.
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Hi,
Hi, guys.
From Maryland, Trinidad.
V from Nigeria.
Back home. Very good. Awesome. That is great. Wow, you guys are flying in.
Neka,
Tanzania.
thank you. I got a compliment.
Of course, you always
I'm
get the
just saying.
compliments. You always get them. Zimbabwe, Jamaica. Much love to all of you in Zimbabwe, by the way. We are following what's going on, just to let you know.
I know.
Yeah. Swansea, Wales. Awesome. Daisy. That is amazing. Well, guys, look, we're going to start off straight away with our usual tradition. You know it by now. We're going to get our wine ready. You better get anything ready that you want, whether it's wine, water, juice, or champagne.
Or green tea.
Or green tea. Oh, sorry, I forgot the green tea. So we're going to get ready with another red today from Spain, I believe. So there we go. Let's see if you even touch it at all today. So I'm going to give you very little. Because usually when watching the videos, like, you haven't even touched the nice red
I'm
wine.
so busy talking that I always forget to drink my wine.
Very true. Awesome. So there we go. Here we are. So, cheers. Prost.
Prost.
To us.
We're supposed to look at each other before we drink.
Oh my god. There we go. Ooh, that was close.
David, what are you drinking?
But I couldn't hold the glass in front of you. Oh Lord. So how have you guys been doing? Kigali. Awesome. That is brilliant. Well, you guys better be ready for today, I would say.
I know. Such a tricky, controversial, but very necessary topic.
Exactly. I mean, as you see from the title, we are going to talk a little bit about cheating today. Obviously,
you talk about it, and that's something we commonly
I know it sounds
do.
a little bit weird, but you know, we're gonna share a little bit more with you exactly how we're gonna address this and what we want to share with you today. As always, by the way, we obviously would like to hear from you as well throughout the video, and then towards the end, we're gonna answer some questions as well. Just to let you know, obviously, if you're not yet subscribed to our channel, and this might be the first time you're tuning in to our live videos, make sure you subscribe really quickly, so you always get notifications and are up to date on anything we are doing and that we are launching on YouTube.
And join us on Instagram as well.
Of course.
David is the CEO of our YouTube. I'm the CEO of our Instagram. So when he's making his case to join us on YouTube, I'm like, join me on Instagram.
That's true. Very true.
That's very true.
Well, it's about sharing tasks and responsibilities. But anyway, you're completely right. Of course.
Yeah.
You're completely right.
Yeah, but don't drop your platform without dropping my own platform. Like,
never do that.
What's that about?
Never again. Last time.
Okay,
awesome.
Let us get right into it.
Absolutely.
So today's topic is how you handle cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Should you stay or should you say to the left?
Okay.
And just like leave.
Absolutely. Yes. And a little bit kind of our view on some of these things.
Actually, I think before we share our views, wouldn't it be nice to hear from everyone what you think? We just want to know generally. Generally, what's the school of thought in the house today? Yeah. Are you team stay, let's work it out, or are you team go?
Yes.
I don't have time for this. There's so many fish in the sea.
And it would be very interesting to see, by the way, that after we shared our views and points, to see who maybe might have changed their mind, by the way. I don't know if we can achieve that with anyone today to change their mind, but where are you standing right now before the video now on like team stay or team go? Let's see what we got.
Change their mind and leave it and decide.
Well, maybe, somebody who thought they were definitely going to leave and maybe now would be more considering to stay, or vice versa, right?
Okay.
So let's see. Leave, stay, better for worse.
Okay, so Pat said depends on the situation.
Okay. Bridget said cheating is a deal breaker.
Yeah, Nana said cheating is a deal breaker for me.
Team go, leave. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
To the left.
Abibatu said team go, I don't have time for this.
Okay.
Team go.
Very fair. Yeah, we agreed that we wouldn't do it, so it's a so it's a break.
Chidima said team boy bye.
Hashtag boy bye.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, fair enough.
You know, I think what I'm seeing.
One or two teams stay, but
mostly team go. There's a lot of team go.
Yeah,
team
absolutely.
go, team go.
So predominantly right now, your sentiment is that most of you would actually leave if that ever happens. God forbid. Okay. All right.
And I don't know, before I actually share my view, which I don't... Do we share the same view on this?
Well, we will see.
So.
Well, clearly we will see.
But, yeah. Honestly, without even giving away too much already where I stand right now, because I would say it very much depends on the situation and it depends on the relationship prior to the cheating. However, irrespective of whether it was a healthy relationship, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was 101% team to the left. Boy, bye. But I'll tell you, my view has changed without also giving too much away. My view has changed since the last decade. And
what?
Why?
Why was that?
I'd say a few things that have influenced it is the quality of the relationship. No, I'll be honest with you. This is you are the first relationship I've had that literally I'm 100% all in. I know without a doubt that you're 100% all in. We have good communication. With all that in mind, even though as of now, thank God, none of us have cheated.
No.
But when I think about, okay, if that happens to me, if David was to cheat, tomorrow, would I leave? And honestly, it's not as easy for me to say, you know what, boy, bye, I'm gonna leave. It's not as easy, and it's not only because of the children, because I know that a lot of couples remain in a relationship because of
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because of kids or long-term commitment, whatever you call it. It's not about the kids. It's really about David.
Quality of the relationship.
It's really about the quality of the relationship that would make it considerably difficult for me to say, you know what, David, you've cheated on me. Get out. This is the end of this relationship. It's and I'm listening to myself and I'm actually surprised that this is my opinion.
Coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, because honestly, a few years ago I would have been like,
no matter
what, go. But then, back then I wasn't in a relationship as good as this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are on the same page on that. that's a relief. But no, I couldn't agree more. So first of all, of course, there's a reason why cheating is the number one reason globally for couples to break up, right? It is definitely. Unfortunately, a common occurrence, and but I also believe that yes, as you said, it really depends because for example on the quality of the relationship before. Now you also always have to dig deeper and really understand why it happened. Now of course there's some cases where there's not like deep emotional reasons why things happen. Maybe just one partner just really genuinely wasn't so much into the relationship, and those might be a common thing for them, and there's probably no real way out of it, right? But let's assume, for example, this was a relationship where you had a genuine kind of relationship, genuine trust beforehand. These things just don't happen out of nowhere. So it's also important to, I think, understand really, there are a couple of other things I thought about actually that I think also could matter in the decision. You said before, quality of relation, 100%. I also believe things, for example, the reaction of the partner, man or woman. Like, for example, do they own up at least when they're caught, right? Are they being honest then about it, or they're still trying to kind of cheat their way out of it in a way, or lie their way out of it, right?
Yeah.
And lastly, also very important that I would think to be very important if it happens is the actions to actually follow, right? I mean, if you at least have a window open to want to listen to your partner, okay, tell me why it happened or whatnot, right? Then of course it's super important. It's one thing to say sorry in the moment, it's one thing to be honest in the moment, but I think another huge factor would be, well, okay, fine, you've said sorry, I believe you for the moment, but it's actions that speak louder than words. So if you even want to give a partner another chance, or your relationship another chance, it really then matters the following weeks or months, however long, doesn't matter. What are the actions of, you know, showing that you're changing, or to try to address whatever was the reason behind, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, I feel like you're kind of jumping at this point. Okay. So no, the first part is, are you team stay then?
No, because you haven't. Yeah, so I think to be honest, very similar to your view, at least the current view, to say it is for me. I would never was, though, to be honest, as well. Like somebody who would say it's definitely out of question. Like go, right? Regardless. Yeah. I was always a little bit like, of course, don't get me wrong. It is probably on an emotional level, it's one of the most hurtful things you can do to your partner. Don't get me wrong. It is, okay? Yeah. So I'm not trying to it's nothing. It is really damaging, right? But I would definitely also say it would not be a 100% leave. It is important, I believe, again, depending on how your relationship was.
Yeah.
Okay? If you generally thought you had a very serious relationship going on, probably for a longer period of time or not, right? It is important to understand at least why it happened. Is it something we could fix or not? You owe it to yourself and to your relationship almost, right? To at least figure that out. Yeah. And maybe it doesn't work, and then that's okay too. But you know.
Yeah. So I believe that a lot of like we've heard today, there's a lot of team go, and maybe there's a lot of factors that influence that. I would have been team go, like I said a few years ago, and the factors that would have influenced that is having that experience or that knowledge that it's very common, so I'm not going to trust you again, or situations where you found your partner cheating and they lied to you, so you literally have to drag it out of them, come up with like evidence, phone evidence, email evidence, all of that. It's almost like you're even though you've caught your partner cheating, they've hurt your feelings, you're still dealing with a liar, you know. So with all of that knowledge and experience, it's very easy to be very short-tempered, to say I'm not going to deal with this anymore, and that's understandable. But I think on the other hand, if you then have a relationship where you feel like it was a genuine commitment, a long-term commitment, you have a family, let's just say in our case, we're the typical example, like we're married now for however many years, we have kids, and we genuinely love each other. I would not be team go the minute you find out. And I feel like we live in a society right now, like you look at all of these celebrities who've been cheated on, it's almost like you get so much external pressure. Should you stay? You're getting pressure from friends who are telling you, you need to go. You're getting pressure from family members telling you there's so many fish in the sea. On the other hand, the pressure could be the opposite.
Culturally.
The pressure could be the opposite, where the relationship is already broken.
Yeah.
You know that you're not supposed to be there anymore. Yeah. And you're also getting pressure to stay. You know, it could very well be the opposite. Yeah. And that's why it really has to be something you decide as a person and you decide jointly as a couple. I feel like the topic of cheating when it comes to relationship should not be influenced by any external things. Yeah. It should be something difficult, but it's very difficult, but it's something that shouldn't be influenced. Like you see all these people coming out through it. Like there was a point, I think it was 2 years ago, where a lot of the there was a couple of Nigerian celebrities who came out talking about how absolutely shitty their husbands were, and they were leaving them, or they found out they were cheating or they were abusive and they were leaving them. And I think it just set off a trend where a lot of the young the young couples that I would know personally were so inspired by women speaking out about leaving their husbands that they were so motivated to leave. And it was almost like a trend, like let me follow what, like female power or girl power. But I think it's very wrong without you assessing where your relationship is at. Is that something that you can fix? To then just get up and leave, I would definitely have a conversation about that.
Absolutely. And I even thinking and talking with you about it no more, I think this point of like, it really also depends how your relationship was before, actually is so important if you really think about it. So that's absolutely true. I also, for example, I mean, this might be slightly controversial, and this is obviously very subjective, right? But obviously this is if it ever happens again, and God forbid it will ever happen to anybody of you guys, but it is, of course, very emotionally very hurtful, right? Trust-wise and everything. But for some reason, and again, this might be controversial, and I've never actually, I think I've never said this to you as well, but no, don't worry. I actually, for some reason, feel, for example, if somebody was abusive, physically abusive, that for me somehow in my mind is worse. I can't reconcile if, for example, if I hear of a guy, because unfortunately that is what usually happens at least, a guy would beat up, a woman, the partner.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me. I rephrase that. I'm even less likely to incline to say, oh no, I'm sure you can work it out. I mean, if a man is only once capable of beating up the woman, the partner that he, I guess, supposedly was loving, right? I feel it's less repairable, do you know what I mean? Than cheating. And I know it's a bit difficult to say, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to say excuse cheating, but generally, in my view, I would find if the man, predominantly the man, would beat up the woman, it's worse for me.
Yeah.
And less likely to be able to build up trust again than he would cheat.
Yeah, I don't know
how I feel about it. It's weird for me.
I've never really considered abuse versus cheating.
I know, but in this context at least, I think for cheating, sometimes there are more kind of longer term things that might have built up over time about the relationship, about lack of maybe intimacy or whatever it might have been. Not to excuse cheating, but just to say I think there are more things that are fixable that are causing cheating, right? Than beating up. I mean, if anybody ever beats somebody up, you're just wrong. Like something is wrong in your mind. There's nothing that can lead up to a man feeling, oh, now over time she has neglected me. Now I need to beat her up. Like, no, there's just something wrong up here that is not fixable. With cheating, you can argue there might have been emotional reasons built up over time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get me? Okay. Like, not excusing it, but explaining it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You get me?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sorry, I don't know.
I mean, so I'm not speaking from experience here because we haven't yet cheated.
Jesus, wow.
No, we haven't. I said I was gonna say that.
I know.
So we haven't cheated on each other. So I wouldn't claim that I'm speaking from experience.
No, of course. True.
But I'm speaking from emotion here.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, if I was to catch David cheating, obviously not physically. I mean, through like maybe text or emails. This is the same way that you catch a cheater. Happen. But if that were to happen, hypothetically speaking, the steps that I would follow, God forbid.
Here's the manual.
Here is the manual to when somebody cheats on you and breaks your trust.
Please, tell us.
But no. So, like I said to you, I would not be team pack my things to leave and like call it quits forever. Okay? Because oftentimes when this thing happens, of course, in the moment you react purely emotionally without even coming back to the table to say, okay, this is what went wrong. And not just coming back to then listen to your apology. I mean, coming back to talk about what went wrong and what led to the cheating.
Right.
So, of course, I can't really tell you in that time how emotional I'm going to be. Are we going to take some time apart? But I would personally be inclined to work on that relationship. Only because of where I am now. Like how much in love we are, how much trust we've built over time, how much in the past you've not given me a reason to doubt your trust, the fact that we have kids, and the fact that there is nothing else broken in the relationship, i.e. you're not abusive to me emotionally, physically, mentally, you're very supportive, so everything is going well. And these things, like, you hear of just cheating instances that come out of the blue.
Yeah.
Although it appears like it comes out of the blue, but if you dig deeper, it didn't come out of the blue, but out of the blue in the sense that everything seemed to be going well until the person cheated.
Yeah.
So then, if you're dealing with a guy who's cheated and off the back of somebody who talks to you whenever, expects you to be the domestic help, feels like he's superior to you, like all of the negative things that people experience in a relationship, I wouldn't even think twice to say to you, you know what, honey, you should be on your way out, or you should actually tell him to leave. But all things being equal, when you perceive that your relationship was perfect, and then out of the blue you find somebody cheating or you catch him cheating, I would not be team goal. I would be, let's go back to the drawing board and let's talk about what led you to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's when you can find out, like, maybe there's an emotional disconnect, or you were, I don't know. What are the reasons for people to cheat?
I mean, sorry, just before I answer that, I just want to give a quick shout out, Abiola Kuti, by the way. Thank you so much for the contribution.
Abiola, thank you. I know Abiola, by the way. Hi, Abby.
Look at you. Okay. But thank you so much, Abiola. I really appreciate the contribution.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I think to kind of think about like what can cause cheating, of course, would be almost another topic in a way, right? I mean, there's a lot of things. It's so dependent on the relationship, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's usually a lack of something, obviously. I mean, if you think about what do most people want in life or in a relationship, right? Is
safety.
Yeah. There are three things, I think.
They want to feel
two
loved.
mostly. Yeah. Exactly.
They want to feel heard.
Yeah.
And they want to feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. So usually, I would say, simply put, some of these things or one of those things is usually not quite there, or not there anymore. Right? It's lost.
Yes,
and also, of course, there's a lack of communication, and you guys by now know that we're very big on communication. This is just a sign, because clearly then the couple wasn't able to, or the person who was feeling that way wasn't able to communicate it to the other partner, right? To say, hey, something is not working for me, I need X more, or this is, and that's, I think, in a nutshell, in a short version, is kind of what leads to it, but it's so dependent, I think, on each couple, And also the other thing I was going to say, kind of slowly now rolling up towards the end and summing up, but that also shows you that it's so important, especially if you're in a long-term relationship or marriage, of course, for many, many years, and we're on our way.
I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second.
Okay. Oh God. Should I continue? No, I will continue. It's obviously very important to not become too complacent, right? I mean, that just shows you too many couples get too comfortable over the years, right? It's important, I think, to check in regularly. Now, there's no timeline per se, I would say, but, every couple of years to really sit down in a way, talk to your partner about, things that are going on or not going on in the relationship, because everybody changes. That's something that's so important to understand. Love evolves, relationship evolves, because the individuals involved in the relationship change over time. Everybody does. So it's important to check in for yourself. Do I still like who I am, right?
Yeah.
And of course, accordingly, does my partner still like who I am, and so forth, and vice versa. So I think that's something really, really important to even prevent it in the first place.
Yeah.
Is to try and check in and not get too comfortable.
Yeah. So growing up, I would say, because a lot of the beliefs that we have as adults is influenced by our surroundings, not necessarily our immediate family. It could be friends that you hang out with, or society, whatever the case may be. But for me, I generally, a lot of my friends are older. I love having older friends because I feel like there's a lot of wisdom. Like, they've lived longer than I have, so like there's a lot to learn. But I remember, like, when I was younger in Nigeria, like I think I would have subconsciously internalized that cheating in a marriage is inevitable. I would have just internalized that. I'm not gonna sit here and claim that somebody told me, like one particular person told me this. But I think over time I internalized that. So I grew up with this thinking that, oh, you know what? Like everybody cheats. It's gonna happen anyway. Right. And I feel like I also internalized that humans are not built to be monogamous.
Okay.
Because you have cultures where you're allowed to marry like two, three,
men,
four. The men,
mostly.
Yeah. To marry 2, 3, 4 wives. Yeah. Like when you grew up in a society that thinks it's okay to marry 2, 3, 4 wives, you somehow subconsciously think a man's needs can never be met by one woman. So even if your husband doesn't go out to marry 2, 3, 4 wives, you start thinking that cheating is inevitable, right? So I somehow internalized that, and then I felt like, you know what, it's bound to happen even if your husband doesn't marry multiple wives. But then I concluded that why it ends up being hurtful is because it's done behind the person's back. So then I grew up thinking, oh, if I was to marry someone, you know, and, you know, if he was to cheat, or let's just say whatever, just to satisfy the physical needs, I thought I'd be okay with that if the person told me. Because what I thought was the betrayal was doing it behind my back.
Okay, interesting.
It's so weird. It's so weird how you form all these things. So I just thought, like, doing it behind my back is what's gonna be very hurtful. But I'm not gonna be hurtful if we have a chat about it.
Jesus. Well.
So like we've not seriously considered it, but we have these conversations of, oh, like, you know what, if you were to cheat, like, would you tell me about it? And we burst out laughing. We're like, and then David was like, okay, babe.
That's not cheating.
David
that's
was
not
like,
called cheating anymore.
David said, okay, babe, listen to this. How does this work? Babe, I'm actually going out to cheat on you right now. Like, how do you think that
like
really
the weirdest
sounds?
thing ever. But
it sounds very weird. So I just, I was in a different headspace at the time. I didn't really think like monogamy was a thing. I thought like all men would cheat, like the marriage, because at some point, like, how can you remain intimate with the same person for the rest of your life? Oh my God. But you know, my mindset now has made me conclude that it really does depend on the quality of your relationship. Because whilst I would have had that mindset earlier, and like you being married to you now, I can't even think about it. I can't really think about doing it to you, and I can't think about you doing it to me. And that's why, if it so happens that in 1 year or 10 years time you cheated, no, of course not, but if you cheated, I really do not think my immediate reaction or response would be pack my things, leave the house, we're breaking up, we're separating our family. I wouldn't think, it has to be more than that. Like, you have to even emotionally and mentally abuse me for me to think about that.
No, I mean,
sorry, I was gonna say that I would handle it by us coming back to the conversation to say, okay, what went wrong? And that being said, what's one last thing? That being said, I'm not saying that every conversation has to end up in you ending up back together.
Very important.
Because you can have that conversation and genuinely conclude, you know what, we've grown apart. We're no longer emotionally where we used to be. We're no longer in love, and it's best for us to separate. In which case, that's okay.
Exactly. And those were the last 2 points I was going to make as well, actually, before we maybe jump to your question, because I've been seeing a lot of you going about, you know, the comment I made earlier around the physical abuse potentially being worse. I mean, a couple of clarifications. Of course, cheating is also abuse, mental abuse. So some of you have said this 100%. I completely agree. Of course, it is also abuse. The only point I was trying to make is, in as difficult or weird as it sounds to say this, but between the two different abuses, in my view, what I was trying to say is, I find physical abuse less fixable, right, than in emotional side. Because for somebody to emotionally, let's say, abuse somebody with cheating, right, and only assuming, of course, this is not something that has gone on for 10 years with 50 different people, by the way. I'm thinking of like, okay, this kind of, okay, with one person, maybe whatever, like a couple of months or so. I'm saying the reasons for an emotional abuse normally, in my view, are more fixable than the reasons for a physical abuse. So physical abuse, something is generally just freaking wrong with that individual who beat up somebody else. There's nothing really about the quality of the relationship. With cheating, that was what I was trying to make the point. With cheating, there can be reasons within the relationship over time that might have caused this, that could potentially be fixable. But
it
the
also
second
depends
point,
on the state of that relationship.
No, completely. But we made the point now a few times. So I think the second point is also, your last point was so true, very important for us to stress as well. Just because maybe we're saying, okay, it's not an immediate reason to run and leave and it's worth discussing, does by no mean means that you will have to definitely then end up staying together.
Yeah.
The point is at least to sit down, consider it, address it, talk about it, and just as you said, maybe you would still end up saying, you know what, it still all doesn't make sense and it doesn't work for me, we might call it quit. But it's about having that conversation and even attempt to look into it, that we're trying to say, I think, right?
Yeah, and you can choose to work on it and then find out that it probably makes you stronger, makes you,
it can,
you know, it would take time. It would take the other person redeeming themselves.
Of course.
Over months and years,
Yeah.
right? It's not something you forget right away.
Yeah.
It's not something you're expected to forgive right away as well. But if you then think, and I'm only saying this because I'm judging from my current relationship, if I then think back to all of the blissful years we've had, and me not thinking that anything is wrong or anything was wrong, felt generally happy, I'm more inclined to say, okay, let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I think by giving you that, by extending that sort of opportunity, like another chance, you may end up being even better than you were, because you also feel genuinely sorry, apologetic, and wanting to fight for me.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then, you know, you go back to the drawing board to talk to somebody who in the past you'd even questioned whether you should be in the relationship with this person. There is no brainer. Like, it's a no-brainer. Whether you have, and this is whether you have kids or not. Okay, so I'm a strong believer that kids should not be what holds you in a very abusive, unhappy relationship. I don't think so.
True.
Yeah.
So to end, maybe a very wise person once said, to be courageous is to be vulnerable.
Oh,
okay.
Who's this wise person?
I don't know. I'm just claiming it was a wise person. I don't know if anybody actually ever said that, but I believe so because it sounds too smart. But anyway, the point is, you know, for you to be courageous, and I think trying to address problems in a relationship, regardless of what it is, requires a lot of courage for both sides. We mentioned in the intro, also for the perpetrator, of course. It takes courage to own up to it, right? And try to really make amends. So, but for that, you have to be vulnerable. So running away sometimes is just closing that door, and it's not actually allowing you to really be vulnerable to address what was going on and what's the reason for it. But
I mean, so we're gonna just read the comments to know what people think. I know that in the beginning there were a lot of people team go, but I think lately there's a lot of people explaining more what they feel. So we're gonna just read the comments.
Exactly. Or if you have any other questions, by the way, of course, as always, you know it by now. We've done it now for the past 3 months. If you have any questions to us on some of the things we've said, also, you know, do let us know.
Yeah, so Gigi said, why didn't you fight for the relationship before the cheating? So I think the one hypothetical example that I gave was all things being fine and normal. And my example is, let's just say the way that I am now with David, and I feel secure in my relationship. I feel like everything is great. You know, with every fight or argument that we have, we resolve it immediately. So I wouldn't really go every day thinking there was something that we left unresolved or unsaid.
Of course, and that's the point with cheating. Almost per definition, usually the person that was cheated on didn't know something was going on, because cheating
not all the time.
No, but I mean, at some point you might find out, but until you find out, it had already happened. So it's not like you know something is, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, you know, oh, if I don't fix this now, he or she is about to cheat.
No, but that is insinuating that there is a problem already.
But you don't only know about it. You know, you don't know. Yes, there might be
some
smaller
people
things.
might know about the problem in the relationship.
True, there might be some issues, but you don't necessarily expect this will then cause my partner to
exactly,
cheat. You might have like a problem in your relationship. True, like most people have, by the way, or a lot of people, which is not a problem. But just because you have a problem in a relationship, I would understand and agree with somebody to say, but I don't then expect that he or she would go out and cheat necessarily. You know what I mean? So I find it a bit difficult to say, why didn't you address it in the first place? Like, any problem in a relationship shouldn't lead to cheating just because you had a problem in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, you should address any problem in a relationship. We are, as Adanna just said, big proponents to always try to resolve anything that's going on.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to kind of, you know, make the immediate connection to cheating per se.
Exactly. And I think just to give another hypothetical example, right? I've actually generated my point of view based on the fact that you catch someone cheating and their immediate reaction is, I am truly sorry that I have broken your heart, I've broken your trust. And then almost setting the scene or the environment for you to then have a genuine conversation. I'm not even talking about somebody who you've collected every evidence against. They're lying. They're trying to make it seem like it's your fault they cheated. They're trying XYZ. I'm not even talking about those ratchet people. No. I'm talking about people who are courageous enough to own up, to apologize that they've hurt your feelings, and to genuinely ask, like, have that conversation about what went wrong, and then create a plan to work on it together.
It's about anything we've said now is always under the premise of what we said in the beginning of the video. Like, obviously the expectation is that somebody is truly sorry, owns up to it, is honest about it, and then takes actions to make up for it.
Yeah.
So obviously that's the whole premise. If none of this is given, then of course I think nobody can disagree that, of course, if the person doesn't even, feel sorry about it, wants to acknowledge it, or kind of almost dismiss it, needless to say, you should run. Okay, I mean, we said this at the beginning of the video, for those of you who tuned in later or so, of course. But we're assuming here, okay, what if at least the person then owns up, etc., etc.? Is there a chance at all then to rebuild this, right?
Someone says, I think the question is more about the person cheating. If they cared enough, they should vocalize that there is a problem that needs addressing. You don't just fall into an affair.
True.
Actually, I beg to disagree with that. You can say true. I actually genuinely think you can fall into an affair without, because it's not, I don't think that, I at least don't think that a lot of the cheating is, there's a problem in my relationship, my wife or my partner is doing me wrong, I will then cheat. It's obviously not talking about it, right? Or not feeling like there's a good enough environment to talk about it, and then you fall into an affair by maybe casually meeting somebody you work with, you laugh a lot with, you go for drinks, one thing leads to. I genuinely feel like people fall into affairs. I genuinely think that.
I think I agree slightly with
Really?
Nicole. Yeah,
Okay.
because I mean, again, if you're in a genuine relationship in the first place, right? You don't have the, hopefully anyway, something then if you do, then something is wrong, of course, but you don't really have the capacity to just fall into it in a night over a couple of weeks.
Over time, not in a night.
Yeah, but then there's a process, of course, for you to even consider it. Then something else is obviously missing in your relationship, and you will realize that, right? For you to even do those steps, if you say over time, of course. So, but on the other hand, Nicole, I also think that many times it's a situation where that person might have thought to their best ability they addressed something, or they talked about it, right? Maybe not as clearly communicated and articulated to your partner, or the partner just isn't taking it seriously. Maybe you've addressed it in the past many times, like, for example, like, oh, you're always at work, or you're always doing this, or you never listen to me, you never take me out, we've lost out on this, or then the partner's like, oh, come on, like, but I'm busy, I'm doing this for our family, I'm working hard to make money, and over time, so you think, look, I've told you now for years that X is missing, or you're not doing this, or I want this more in our relationship. But again, of course, the other partner thinks maybe they're doing something to change, or just not taking it very seriously, and obviously don't expecting, okay, but that might lead my partner to cheat on me, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what more often happens, to be honest, that the person who feels very vulnerable or dissatisfied kind of thought maybe they would address it, and it just didn't work the way they thought it would. And at some point, of course, give up, and then, like, you know what, now whatever.
Okay, and then I suppose one question I've seen a couple of times is the assumption that once a cheat, always a cheat, right? Do you genuinely believe that someone can cheat only once and then genuinely fix it, move on without cheating again? Or do you think like everyone who's cheated before will definitely cheat again?
No, I think it is possible, and there are cases where people it can be once off.
Me too. I genuinely believe that.
Now I know of the kind of character I guess some people might be referring to. Unfortunately, yes, there are quite a number of a big group of people, let's say, of characters, yes, that are just it's not in their nature, and they just don't understand. Maybe because they've never been in the right relationship. They actually not feel the need to do that, and they're using this excuse of but I need X. I don't buy into that. So I genuinely believe it is possible. Not that it sounds kind of something to aspire to do, that it's possible to know, but I genuinely believe that yes, that it is possible for somebody to only cheat once and then not again. I do think that's possible.
Yeah,
yes.
Me too.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just do.
What if both the husband and wife cheat at the same time because they're in a bad place?
Well, is it coincidence that it's happened at the same time? They both find out, or is it one of these pre-agreed?
But it's one of those things. I mean, that question, there's so many ways to answer that. But if that happens because you're in a bad place, the question is then, why are you together? Because why are you together? Because we had said when a partner cheats and you would have had the perception that everything was going well, or maybe not going well, but the first reaction being have the conversation about it. We've stressed here that having a conversation does not mean you have to end up to back together.
Correct.
It could be a conversation where you acknowledge your growth as a person, or your reflections on the relationship, and realize it no longer serves the both of you because you're more unhappy than you are happy. So you might then make the intentional decision to separate. So the question is if you both are in a bad place, and you're saying, well, the man and the woman are cheating. So the question is, do you have knowledge that both of you are doing that? Because then if you have the knowledge that your man is cheating and your man has the knowledge that you're cheating,
what's the point?
Why are you together? So my thing is, you're already in a bad, unless when you come back to then have the conversation, you both decide to stop the cheating because you want to both work on it. In which case, that's fine. That's a decision you've both made. But genuinely, I don't think that you should continue being together if both of you are going to be cheating. Yeah.
Very true. Let's see what else. Any other questions? Are you guys having your own conversation, which is brilliant. You guys are just going off, which is brilliant.
Blessing Oakwood says, what people change. Once a cheat is not always a cheat. I agree to that.
We do agree, absolutely, yes.
There's a few more questions.
If you're up there, let's see.
Oh Jesus, wow. There's a lot of comments. Okay. Let's say okay, Nyasha said, let's say there was no problem in the relationship, but someone cheats and they're truly sorry and owns up, but the cheating results in a baby.
Now you're choosing literally the worst scenario you can imagine. It was a great relationship. They cheat, they're really truly sorry for it and own up to it, but unfortunately that led to a baby. That is literally
it worth saving?
The worst kind of case. Wow, that's a difficult one, I would say. You see, that little thing unfortunately complicates things quite a bit, I have to admit.
Do you know that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. The thing is, I really do not believe that a relationship is a one-size-fits-all. It can never be.
Very true.
Because everyone's relationship is different. Everyone's emotional state is different. And, there are people who can forgive and decide, either even the woman who's got pregnant decides, well, we're gonna... my thing is, when you catch your partner cheating, let's just say it's a once-off thing, they've apologized, they've owned up to it, and you both have decided to work towards it going forward. Part of that work involves cutting ties with the person that you cheated on. Obviously. Because you can't, let's just say someone you work with or someone in your circle, or a family friend or something. I genuinely don't see us moving forward if you're going to keep that person in your life. Yeah. So I think part of moving forward together means cutting that person off.
And at the same time, I'm also a big proponent, regardless of the circumstances, if you have fathered, in this case, because I'm assuming it's at least a man there, a child, you should be in the child's life. So two together, of course, would suggest that if that really happens and a baby comes out of it, it's probably going to be very difficult, next to impossible, to kind of work that properly out, you know, like
it's gonna be it's a very difficult
that's
one.
a really
And
tricky
any
one,
woman who chooses to then do that, just make sure that you're happy with it, and make sure that you're ready to deal with all of the emotions that come with it, because we're like David said, we just believe that if you are a parent, you should be in your child's life, especially if the mother of the child will let you. So let's just say the person your partner cheated on will let you be in the child's life. You can't keep being a daddy to your ex while I'm sitting in the corner. Someone you cheated on, you're the father, you're in their lives. Like, I don't... It's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one.
All right, guys, let's see.
It's almost next to impossible. But...
I know. Should we look at it? There's one maybe question or so, maximum two we have time for.
Okay.
This chat is on fire, I would say. This is brilliant. It's even hard to keep up, by the way, with you guys. What else do we have? What is?
I read something that was so funny.
Anything else here? Any question? You guys are just basically responding to each other, which is brilliant.
Okay, so should we go with so Maya said, some people think that women should not complain too much about their husbands cheating because according to them, all men cheat. She said some people in Africa.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that?
Well, I think we mentioned very early on in the video, of course, a lot of times there are kind of external factors and societal factors that influence, of course, the way you might look at cheating and the way you would react, right? And that's obviously is an example of that, where the culture or society you live in might really heavily influence the way you even consider cheating as a problem or not, right? To your point. Now, I think I speak for both of us, and you will correct me anyway if I don't, but but I personally, at least, generally don't agree with that, right? I think that's an absolutely lazy excuse.
Yeah.
Simply put.
You speak for me too.
Okay, in this case, I speak for you. I personally, as a man, I obviously look, yes, you can argue historically, culturally, it's always been like this. Fair enough, of course. I know their cultures for many, many decades and hundreds of years have lived that way. But at the same time, every culture has changed over time. Some quicker than others, but it's okay for culture also to change. And I just can't live in the world we're living in right now to genuinely believe this is still something that people would go along with or would truly believe, right?
Yeah.
You do not have to cheat and have to have several different women or so, in my view anyway. So no, I don't agree with that.
No.
I don't.
I don't agree with
and
that.
Look, they might agree with that, but you also, I think, have the right then to decide that, but that's not for me.
Exactly.
Like,
thank you.
in as much as a lot of people in the culture might say this is normal or so, and women should just accept that. If you generally don't feel like it, you should have the right, or at least you should be able to then also say, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But I then at least want that few percent of men in my culture that don't do that. Because that's just something that's very important to me.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, that's just
it's like feminism as well. If we're talking about the same continent, it's like feminism where, still till today, a lot of people feel like women are second to men. I'm sorry, I do not subscribe to that mentality. So I choose not to interact or engage with people or to be in a situation where people think I'm second to men. That I choose not to. So it might be something that's common in a lot of cultures. You can, if you then decide you are okay with that, that's fine. If you're not, then you have no reason to subscribe to that mentality. Yeah.
Very true.
And for men as well, like if you can choose to be with so many women, as long as they have knowledge that you're this bachelor who wants to hop around, that's fine. You have no business marrying a woman and expecting her to be okay with the fact that all men cheat. Like, are you kidding me?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I don't even want to get annoyed thinking about this.
Don't worry. Okay, guys, one last question, I would say. One quick one. Let's see. One more question we can answer, and I think then we will have come to the end. Already again, these things always go by so quickly, by the way, guys. Seriously.
How long is it?
Now, last question. Come on, give us a good one. What do we have, please? It's all the comments. We're trying to read through them now.
Oh, gee.
Hello from Israel.
Okay.
What do we got? Sorry, I think these things come up maybe slightly later for us here, slightly delayed. Jesus, it's a difficult.
There's a lot.
Go for it. You choose.
I choose. Sorry.
Yes, you choose the question.
No, you choose.
Oh, Jesus. What do we got?
Oh no, we've answered a few of these.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were trying to obviously find new topics, right? Something else. Some of you are asking very similar questions.
Oh, this is going by quick.
Why can't people just be honest? That's true. And communicate. Beautiful.
Oh.
Okay. You found one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay.
So Nkiruka says, does having inappropriate chats online count as cheating?
Good one. I think somebody else also was asking, for example, emotional cheating. It kind of maybe goes a little bit towards that as well.
Yeah.
Does having inappropriate chats count as cheating? So my first intuition response, I would say it's very wrong. I wouldn't probably label it as cheating, to be honest. For some reason, in my mind, cheating is really if you've really done a more physical act, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I still think...
I'll label it as inappropriate.
Exactly. I still would find it highly inappropriate and an issue, right, to be addressed and talked about. Okay, yeah, yes. Exactly. Because why the heck do you feel the need to, whatever, again, flirting was going on or chatting was going on, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't label this as cheating, to be honest, personally. Somehow cheating for me is really a bit more physical.
Actually, Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay.
I wouldn't label it as cheating. I'll label it as inappropriate.
Highly inappropriate.
I'll still be offended by it if I saw it.
And hurt.
Yeah. And then it will lead to us addressing why you felt the need to do that.
That already showed that there were some things you were almost on the path for this to potentially happen, right? If you're willing, or if you're already willing to do that,
it's the next step, isn't it?
Well, maybe next, but at least it's one of the steps towards ultimately then maybe actual physical cheating. So it is very dangerous and definitely inappropriate, but it might not yet quite.
Yeah, I think exactly, because if you categorize that as emotional cheating, like everything that you would do besides the physical act, it really hints that something is wrong in the relationship.
Yeah.
It really does.
100%.
That you're not, being satisfied, something's missing. And everything leads back to communication. Like, is that something we can fix together going forward? Or is that something that would lead us to then break up? Because slowly but surely, like David said, that is a step that leads you to the physical act. But I think somehow, even if if somebody has had the opportunity to maybe be physical, but they rather just leave it to emotional chats, maybe it tells you that they recognize something's missing, but they don't want to give up on the relationship just yet.
Interesting.
In which case, you still need to have that conversation, like what led you to do that.
Yeah,
but it's highly inappropriate. It's highly inappropriate.
None of that is good. So please, anybody who's just maybe tuning in towards the end or listening in, like we're not condoning any of these things, by the way. Nothing we've discussed. We're just trying to kind of, I guess, make sense a little bit on, how to think of these things and how you can, I guess, walk through them basically, or work through them. Sorry. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So just expanding on that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, there's the flirting, inappropriate chats, but everything, like I said, in this relationship or everything you talk about, it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
So I would say that whilst we're saying, okay, it's not as bad as being physical, I can't think of what's worse, sharing nude pictures.
Yeah.
Someone talked about like sharing images and sharing images.
Yeah.
That's bad.
No,
that's
like
very bad.
I don't know how to best explain. It's completely inappropriate already as a massive issue in the relationship, right? But again, it's very personal and subjective, of course, and we completely respect anybody who feels differently, right?
But you don't think it's cheating?
I mean, again, for me, for some reason, that's to your point earlier, with the way you grew up and the way you're socialized. right? The way you socialize earlier. Remember when you said like you kind of grew up in a certain way because you were made to be. For me, somehow, when I talk or think about cheating, there's always this element of an actual physical act, right?
Nah.
It's just the way I grew up.
No, if pictures that, like you can text, oh yeah, like you could do all your texting back and forth. We've all done it as teenagers. But let me tell you, if you're in a relationship and you're married, and there's like suggestive poses flying around the place,
that's
I'm
cheating.
Sorry, that's cheating. In my opinion, that is
okay.
cheating.
And sorry, I know we've said now several times last question, but this one is a really important one, I believe. Beverly said, why is a woman expected to stay in a relationship if the man cheated, but if a woman cheats, the man is already throwing her in the bin? What do you think about this? I mean, very easy and clear cut. Anything we have said, and we've tried to make this clear, goes both ways. I do not believe, personally, there's any difference at all. I know that in most societies anyway, there is a difference completely. As soon as a woman cheats, it's absolute disastrous and she's a monster. She's God knows what, heartless, cold, whatever you want, people call her. And for men, it's like, sure, but, whatever. It wasn't really that bad. I understand that. But I think, again, I think I speak for both of us. What we had said in the last, 50 minutes or so completely goes both ways.
Yeah.
Whether a man or the woman cheats, it applies the same way to me.
Yeah.
Simple and quite clear cut, hopefully.
All right,
guys. So, Jesus,
how is this almost an hour? This is crazy.
Every time it's the same. It goes by so quickly. But we do want to thank you so much for tuning in again. Several of you have said earlier, by the way, that it's the first time you managed to catch the live. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
And
join us on Instagram.
And also, of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
That was the YouTube guy.
If you haven't already subscribed. But thank you so much. We will see you obviously in the weekend, or rather you'll be seeing our vlog on the weekend, and then we'll catch you for another live in 1 week's time next Wednesday evening. But until then.
But I think from the next live, we can even ask, actually now, maybe give us a suggestion on what you would like for us to discuss in next week's live.
True.
Because so far we've been coming up with the topics, but we want to get you involved, especially for most of you that regularly tune in. We really appreciate you. If there's a particular topic that you'd want us to address, maybe leave it once this video goes live on the channel. Please leave it in the comments so that we can take your suggestions.
Absolutely, that's actually great idea. Absolutely, perfect.
Okay.
Well, with that, have a great night, day, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world, and we will catch you next Wednesday at 9 p.m. GMT +1 UK time again for our next live. All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.